My parents said gas was too expensive to drive 3 hours to my wedding, but they stole my money to vacation in Hawaii. So I took them to court. Life can throw you a curveball so unexpected that it makes you reevaluate your entire worldview. When my own wedding had 3 vacant seats, I knew it was the moment. This is a brutal, heartbreaking proof of a betrayal that went beyond anything I could have anticipated. No one from my immediate family was missing. They had been stealing from me for years, and this was proof of it. My wedding day was exactly 1 week away, and the countdown began then. Just 7 days to go till I tie the knot with Alaric, the guy who had shown me, over the course of 4 years, that love need not be painful. It would be 7 days until I would wear the cream-colored gown that I had purchased on sale, but which had already given me an air of royalty. The countdown to the celebration of something that was finally, entirely mine was 7 days away. So the thinking went. The last batch of thank you cards for early wedding presents was addressed by me as I sat cross-legged on the floor of our apartment that Tuesday morning. The 3-day bachelor camping trip with his brothers had already departed, and Alaric was thrilled to be going since the focus will be on fishing rather than drinking. His absence made the flat seem too empty. I was listening to one of those wedding planning podcasts when the hosts act like they're reporting from a war zone as they talk about centerpiece disasters with an excessive amount of enthusiasm. Someone tapped on my phone. Dear Mother. Swiping to respond, I grinned. Planning a wedding brings families closer together, doesn't it? That's why she'd been acting aloof recently. It drives everyone a bit bonkers and overwhelmed. For months, I had been assuring myself of that. Hi, Mom. I was just thinking about you. Did you get the itinerary I sent? The ceremony starts at 4, but I'd love if you could come by the bridal suite around noon. She said, Serafina, honey. Her voice carried that distinct quality. I mean, the one she pulled out just before she was going to let me down. When Isolde had a dance recital, she had to skip my college graduation, and I heard about it then. When her father's bowling league playoffs took place, she was unable to attend my promotion dinner. I wrote, we need to talk about Saturday. My hand remained on the thank you card I was working on. It sounded small and distant, but the podcast host was giggling about a cake that had crumbled. What about Saturday? A pause ensued. Her breaths lingered audibly. I could see her standing in my childhood home's kitchen, perhaps dusting off already cleaned countertops. She would do that whenever she felt anxious. I didn't understand what you were saying when you said, we're not going to be able to make it, sweetheart. I couldn't solve the math equation that hung in the air because of them. Disabled and unable to attend my wedding. What about my wedding? I don't understand. It's just the money, Serafina. You know how things have been. The car needed new tires last month, and the property taxes just came due. And with gas prices what they are, driving 3 hours each way, it's just not feasible right now. Does it make sense? She uttered those words as if we were engaged in a commercial negotiation, rather than my wedding day. Mom, I offered to help with gas money. Alaric's parents have that extra room at their hotel. If you need somewhere to stay, we could. With her voice now even sharper, she interrupted me saying, it's not just that. Strongly opposed. Your father's back has been acting up. 3 hours in the car would kill him, and Isolde has that thing with her friends that weekend. When I asked, that thing with her friends? I could hear my voice quivering. Mom, this is my wedding. I know that. Serafina, don't be dramatic. We'll celebrate when you get back, maybe a nice dinner, somewhere special, some unique spot, such as the Olive Garden where they took me following my high school graduation. Isolde was allowed to have dessert since she endured the entire tedious ceremony, despite the fact that it was my special day. Is Dad there? Can I talk to him? He's in the garage. You know his behavior, men and emotions. Her laughter was insincere. He loves you, sweetheart. We both do. This is just bad timing. Poor timing. As if I had planned my wedding to deliberately annoy them. What about Isolde? Is she? Oh honey, I should go. The stove timer's going off. We'll call you after, okay? To hear all about it. Take lots of pictures. Before I could say anything, she ended the call. The half-written thank you card sat in front of me while I sat there, clutching my phone. Thank you so much for the beautiful serving dish, Alaric. And I can't wait to what? Use it at family dinners where my family never shows up. I went straight to voicemail when I called Dad's cell. Sorry sis, money is tough for everyone right now. Hope it's wonderful. I emailed Isolde. Mom claims you guys can't make it to the wedding. Please tell me this isn't real. Her response arrived 3 hours later. 2 hearts. An emoticon representing a heart. She skipped my wedding and instead sent a heart emoji. I relived every conversation from the past 6 months that night as I sat in the chilly water of the bathtub. At first, Mom appeared enthralled, inquiring about colors and flowers. That excitement had waned, like a light switch being lowered a little bit at a time. My dad had promised to dance with me at the wedding, but now he hardly talks about it. The reception at the camping spot was so bad that Alaric's voice cracked as he called. "How's my almost wife doing?" I felt the need to fabricate a story in order to shield his bachelor party from the fallout of my dysfunctional family. No more acting like everything is okay when it isn't. It was a promise I made to him a long time ago. "They're not coming," I declared. I was afraid we had lost contact in the prolonged quiet. "My parents. Any of them. Mom. Dad. Isolde. They said they can't afford it." With a cautious and soothing tone he said, "Serafina, last month they drove to Vegas to see that concert Isolde wanted to see." "I know. They bought that new patio furniture set." "I know, baby. This isn't about money." "I know that too." He assured me that our wedding would be picture perfect regardless, and we remained on the phone until his battery expired. The way his family became my family. The way we were creating something superior and novel. Trusting him was important to me. Attempting to imagine my dad's face, my mom's joyful tears, and Isolde by my side, I buried myself in our comforter. In between last-minute adjustments and rehearsal dinners, the remainder of the week flew by. The love and acceptance of Alaric's family encircled me. I learned the traditional recipe for their wedding bread from his mother. If my veil shifted throughout the wedding, his sisters would fight over who would repair it. Kindness, however, seemed to shine a light on the emptiness. The venue organizer inquired, "Should we save them seats?" while the rehearsal was in progress. "For your parents?" Sometimes people change their minds last minute. I finally managed to get Alaric's attention across the room. He hardly nodded at me. The answer was, "Yes," I replied. 3 seats, front row, left side. Hope is a foolish and obstinate creature. I had a terrible time sleeping the night prior to the wedding. At his brother's house, Alaric was spending the night. Tradition. Without him, the apartment seemed enormous, as his mother had insisted. My laptop was brought out, and I began to peruse old pictures. Mom insisted that we all wear similar sweaters at Christmas 3 years ago. At my college graduation, my dad was there, arms wrapped around me. For least he had arrived for the celebration afterwards. We spent the summer before Isolde started high school together, playing in the sand and dreaming about what the future held. We appeared as a unit in all of the pictures. A genuine family, the type that was always there for one another. A video of Isolde's high school graduation ceremony was located. You could hear Mom's proud sniffles as she recorded it on her phone. As she whispered, "That's my baby," she continued. As Isolde crossed the stage, the camera trembled from the intensity of Mom's applause. To be there, she had driven 6 hours. While Isolde's school was undergoing renovations, her graduation ceremony took place at a different college site 3 towns away. Those 6 hours. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it 3 hours to my wedding. After the clock struck midnight, I gave Mom another call. Perhaps it was the lateness of the hour, or the darkness that inspired me to be brave. "Serafina, is everything okay?" "No," I responded. "Nothing's okay. I'm getting married tomorrow, and my family won't be there. We've been over this. Mom, please. Please. I will never ask you for anything else. I'll pay for everything. Gas. Hotel. Food. I'll never bring it up again. Just please be there." There was a long period of quiet. In the background, I could make out my father's snoring, as their grandfather's clock ticked away. The one that, like all things significant, would eventually be given to Isolde. "We can't, Serafina. I'm sorry. Try to understand." "I'm making an effort," I murmured. "I've been trying my whole life." She ended the call first. My wedding morning came with a beautiful sunny sky, much like one of those picture-perfect October days, when the scent of apple cider and fresh promises fills the air. At 7 o'clock, my maid of honor Thalassa arrived with bagels and coffee, and the sisters of Alaric arrived with orange juice and champagne. Catching my gaze in the glass, Thalassa firmly stated, "Today's about joy," as she pinned my hair. Nothing else, just joy. Tears welling up in my eyes, I nodded in agreement. "The makeup artist will be here soon." We raised our glasses to the beauty expert while dancing and laughing. Just as I put on my dress, Alaric's mom slipped my grandmother's pearls, the one family treasure I had, around my neck. My father's mom had bequeathed them to me because she saw I would need something uniquely my. Our assembly outside the chapel doors began at 4:04. Lucian, Alaric's uncle, extended his arm to me. His laugh lines betrayed a life well lived. He was a decent man, strong and generous. Yet he was not my father. A brilliant you, Lucian said. Alaric's a lucky man. Thanks, I said. The chorus rose in pitch. 2 doors swung open. I looked straight to the front left row as 200 heads cocked to stare at me. On 3 lifeless chairs, bound by ribbons, were place cards bearing names that ached like wounds. Mom, Dad, Isolde. Everything else faded into the background until I laid eyes on Alaric. Already, he was sobbing uncontrollably. He seemed to be physically grasping as hard as he cried. Alaric kept staring at me the whole time, even when his brother murmured something, likely to tease him. There was a decision at every turn along that aisle. The decision to stop dwelling on the past and start living in the present. A decision to dive headfirst into something rather than try to avoid everything. On our way to the altar, Lucian gave me a little hug, kissed my cheek, and then I put my hand in Alaric's. You came, Alaric muttered. Just for me. Where else would I be? Our ceremony was perfect in every way, and it was very different from what I had pictured. We were all moved to tears by Alaric's vows. No one could help but laugh and then cry at mine. Alaric dipped me like we were in an old movie as soon as the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," and the congregation roared so loudly that it resounded through the room. We tied the knot. Our marriage stood strong in the face of all odds. At the height of the celebration, guests were toasting and dancing, and Alaric's father shared a traditional Estonian folk dance he had learned as a boy. While we were cutting the cake, Thalassa took me aside. She murmured in an unusual and unsettling voice. Don't look now, but... What? It was Alaric's phone that she gave me. Your mom's been tagged in something. I thought you should see it before anyone else mentions it. As I beheld it, my palms were still coated with the sticky icing from the wedding cake. Even though I said I do, the photo was posted 2 hours ago. Indeed, they were present. To a person. Everyone who had previously stated they were unable to attend my wedding. My parents, Isolde, aunts, uncles, cousins, and extended family. With tropical cocktails in one hand and identical Franklin Family Reunion 2024 t-shirts in the other, they were on the deck of a cruise ship. Maya Octavia captioned the image, writing, "Best family vacation ever. So blessed to have everyone together." Hello everyone. Well, everyone else isn't. In my haste I let go of the phone. With a pallid face, Thalassa grasped it. "Serafina, I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have shown you." I said, "No." My voice came out as weird and distant. "No, I needed to see." After dancing with his grandma, Alaric showed up at my elbow, looking crimson in the face. He paused when he saw our expressions and said, "Hey beautiful, they're about to... What's wrong?" Without saying a word, Thalassa passed him the phone. I noticed a shift in his facial expression. Observed as the happiness drained from his countenance like liquid from a shattered glass. "Are you fucking kidding me?" Alaric whispered under his breath. No, Serafina, this is..." As he slid through the images, his jaw clenched more and more. "This one's from yesterday. They're at the port. Your dad's wearing a Hawaiian shirt that still has the price tag on it. Yesterday they were at a port, probably in Florida, at least an 8-hour drive from home. They'd had to book this weeks ago. Months ago, when I was sending them save the dates, when I was begging them to be here." Saying, "I need a minute," I proceeded. I hid out in the bridal suite, where the sounds of the reception continued to echo through the air. Like that voyage, my wedding was taking place independently of me. It sums up my entire existence in the most exquisite way. Without giving a second thought to my attire, I sat on the floor and painstakingly reviewed each tagged photo, just like a detective examining a crime scene. Isolde was seen on what was supposedly formal night, posing in a white sundress. All new, like a postcard. Pretty pricey. What was the price tag for that? Definitely more than the cost of petrol. Even though my uncle Leander had sent a note claiming he was too sick to go, there he was, playing shuffleboard with my dad. Mom and my Aunt Susan were seen lifting glasses at what appeared to be a champagne breakfast. At the very moment I was making my way down the aisle, at precisely 4 p.m., it was posted, according to the timestamp. but the comment section was where the worst photo was hidden. It was likely drunken cousin Dorian who had posted it. As my dad made a speech, the whole white-clad family gathered in the ship's ballroom and raised their glasses in celebration. It reads, "Uncle Rob's toast to family. The ones who matter most always find a way to be together. Glad we skipped the drama for this." Cut to the chase, the dramatic event was my wedding. I looked closely at their faces as I enlarged the photo. Everyone was smiling and laughing. Everyone seems perfectly well. Not a single soul seemed sad, guilty, or like they would rather be someplace else. It seemed as if they desired to be in my company. I hear a rap on the door. The voice of Alaric. "Can I come in?" After I unlocked it, he sneaked inside with a water glass and a slice of our wedding cake to share with me. "Thought you should eat something?" "I can't." He drew me close as we sat on the floor together. "I want to drive to that port and throw every single one of them overboard. It's international waters. You'd probably get away with it. Don't tempt me." He gently pressed his lips to my temple. "What do you need?" "I need to understand why I wasn't enough. Why I'm never enough." He shifted my gaze to meet his, and I heard him say, "Hey. You're more than enough. You're everything. They're the ones who aren't enough. They're the ones who are broken." "Then why does it hurt like I'm the broken one?" For that, he was at a loss. After knocking, Thalassa came in with my phone. "Your mom's calling. She must have seen that people saw the posts." As her name flashed on the screen, I fixated on it. Afterwards, I let the call go. No, she doesn't get to explain this away, not this time. Instantly my phone began to ring with messages. "Mother. It doesn't appear that way. Mom. We reserved this long before we knew the exact date of your wedding. After her breakup, Isolde truly needed this," Mom said. "You are loved, Mom. Mom. Why aren't you getting back to me? Mom. That's why we were so careful not to inform you. What did we expect? You'd be all dramatic." I silenced my mobile. "Come on," Thalassa said as she yoked me up to my feet. "You have a room full of people who actually showed up for you. Let's go celebrate that." We returned to the reception area. During our dance, Alaric's dad murmured, "You're the daughter I always wanted," into my ear. It was the best man's speech that made me giggle. My cousin Alaric caught the bouquet I tossed. Inside, I was keeping a running tally of every time they had picked someone or something else over me, every lie, every excuse, even if I seemed to smile for the photos. The celebration of the birthday that they had to skip, due to Isolde's overnight. They had bailed on the scholarship ceremony due to the inclement weather. The holidays when I would spend hours in the kitchen just to end up eating by myself, due to an unexpected guest. Something is always happening. On our first dance, Alaric leaned in close and murmured, "We're going to build something better. A family that shows up." And hugged me tight. What if I don't know how? What if I'm broken like them? You're not. Know how I know? Because you're here, hurting like hell, and you're still being kind to everyone. You haven't made a scene. You haven't ruined anything for anyone else. You're not them, Serafina. You'll never be them. Rowena, Alaric's mom, and I ended up outside on the venue's balcony after we cut the cake and performed all the typical stuff. With a simple, "Alaric told me," she spoke. "About your family." Not believing what I was saying, I nodded. Her mother was also absent during her daughter's wedding, she related. Said she had the flu. Found out later she went to Atlantic City with her boyfriend instead. How did you forgive her? For an extended period, Rowena remained silent. I didn't. I just decided to live well despite her. Had beautiful children, built a loving home, created the family I'd wished for. The best revenge isn't actually revenge, Serafina. It's joy. Joy they can't touch or ruin or take credit for. They posted photos during my ceremony. During the exact moment. I know, sweetheart. And someday, when they're old and wondering why their daughter doesn't visit, why their grandchildren don't know them, they'll remember those photos. They'll remember choosing a cruise over your wedding, and they'll have to live with that. What if they don't care? Then you'll have wasted less time figuring that out. For the final dance, we returned indoors. Alaric clutched me tightly as if I were a ball of spun gold as the DJ spun Etta James's At Last. The 3 chairs that had been set aside for those who were too lazy to show up remained motionless, with their flawless ribbons and place cards serving as tangible evidence of my decision. I noticed that Alaric's sister was photographing us as we rocked back and forth, making sure to frame those vacant seats so that I would be protected in the documentation. I understood that that is what families do. They shield you from harm, not inflict it. Cheers and sparklers signaled the conclusion of the reception. As we hurried to the waiting automobile, others waited in line to offer their best wishes. I switched on my phone again in the back seat, finally having some peace and quiet. 47 calls went unanswered. 12 texts in all. My whole social circle had seen the crew's images. Assembling the puzzle pieces, people were beginning to understand it. One message, though, completely froze me. From a friend of Mom's named Morwenna, whose face I didn't recognize. I deeply regret their actions, Serafina. Your dad took out $9,000 from the joint account to pay for that vacation last month, which you should be aware of. Your grandpa's bank account. He should not have taken that money. It took 3 readings of Morwenna's message before the words stuck. Both parties' accounts. The narrative of Grandpa. $9,000. Alaric. I managed to choke out. In an effort to ease the emotional deluge I had experienced over the past several hours, he began massaging my back. What is it? His expression went from bewilderment to comprehension to wrath as I gave him my phone and watched his eyes scan the message. That account. That's the one with your name on it. From when you were 18? Nodding, I consented. On my 18th birthday, my grandpa took me to the bank to open an account for me. To further your education, he had informed you. Alternatively, in cases of extreme necessity. Serafina, this is for you, yours alone. But due to tax reasons and the fact that he was a minor when the account was initially set up, Dad was the main holder. Not once had I even considered touching it. Since Grandpa passed away 2 years ago, I honestly forgot it ever existed. Empty or closed, I had thought. For Alaric, we need to call someone, was the order. This is theft. It's Saturday night. Our wedding night. I don't care if it's Christmas morning. He then proceeded to get his phone. My friend Callista from law school, she handles this kind of thing. Alaric, we can't call a lawyer on our wedding night. Watch me. We reached our motel room 20 minutes after that. It was far from the dream wedding night I had envisaged, what with Alaric talking to Callista on the phone and me using his laptop to access financial websites. Callista responded. First things first, maintaining an air of serious professionalism despite the late hour. Serafina, can you access the account online? I don't know. I never have before. Try. Use your social and see if you can reset the password. While I typed, my hands trembled. There was an account. It still had my name on it, but as a secondary holder. I regretted resetting the password the second I logged in. My family's betrayal was laid out for me in the transaction history. The initial sum was $49,000 3 years ago. All my life, Grandpa had been putting money aside for me. Existing funds amount to $2,441. Oh my God, I exhaled. Like a deceitful grocery list, the withdrawals slid down the page. $9,000 for vacation costs last month. $5,000 6 months ago, the same week Isolde got her automobile. And $4,500 last year when Mom redecorated the living room. Dad approved transaction after transaction, eroding Grandpa's inheritance from me. Serafina. Callista's voice sliced through my nervousness. This is fraud. Your name is on the account. You never authorized these withdrawals. We can file charges against your father, against someone who stole from you. The relationship doesn't change the crime. As he paced, Alaric let his suit jacket fall to the floor and his bow tie dangle loosely. There's more. Callista, if this was meant for Serafina, if her grandfather specifically set it aside for her, wouldn't there be documentation? Possibly. Serafina, do you have any of your grandfather's papers? A will? Anything? My mind wandered to the box that lay beneath our bed, the one that Grandma had given me following Grandpa's funeral. Remember to keep him on hand, for when you need him, she had warned. I'd never opened it. We do, but not here. It's at home. First thing Monday morning, I need you to file a police report. Then we freeze the account, document everything, and send a formal notice of dispute to your father. Serafina, I recognize this as your family, but please don't think they are. Family doesn't do this. I sat in quiet on the hotel bed, still dressed for the wedding, staring at the laptop screen after Alaric and I hung off the phone. A ship Wi-Fi package was purchased yesterday morning for $67, so that they could share pictures from my wedding online. They had spent my bequest on internet service. When asked if I wanted to do it, I responded enthusiastically. File the report, send the notice, all of it. Are you sure? There's no going back from this. Anyway, there's no turning back now, I said, gesturing toward my still beeping phone. A resident of our little town said, "Look at this." The images from the cruise had gone widespread online. People were expressing their disbelief, commenting and sharing. Isolda said, "People don't know the whole story. Serafina has always been dramatic. We needed this vacation for our mental health." Alaric's aunt posted, "Some people don't deserve the families they have, but the family was fighting back." My high school English teacher exclaimed, "I can't believe they missed your wedding for this." My sister used therapy speak to explain why she was leaving me. I was taken aback by Mom's attempt at damage control when she said, "We planned this cruise a year ago." Serafina scheduled her wedding knowing we had plans. It was an incredibly blatant lie. 8 months had passed since I had given the information. The date was chosen with her assistance. With a last, "I'm done," I addressed Alaric. "I'm done pretending they love me. Done making excuses. Done being the understanding one." "Good," he declared with all his energy. "It's about time." A Facebook post was quickly composed by me using my phone. I turned my head as Alaric read. "Thank you to everyone who celebrated with us today. To those who couldn't make it, we missed you. To those who chose not to come, your absence was a gift. It showed me who my real family is. P.S. If you're wondering about the empty chairs and the photos, check the cruise tags from today. Sometimes people show you exactly who they are. Believe them." "Are you sure?" Alaric inquired. Submit was the command I used. Afterwards, I contacted Callista again. "How soon can you send that notice?" "I can draft it tonight, send it first thing in the morning." "Do it." Instantly the phone went off. "Dear Mother." "No," I said no. "Dear Father." "Ruled out. My name is Isolda." "Ruled out. A mysterious figure. Most likely one of them is on the phone of another person." "Ruled out." With care, Alaric removed my phone and turned it off. "Tomorrow. We'll deal with it all tomorrow." I was surprised by how quickly tomorrow arrived. Someone pounded on the door of our hotel room at 4 in the morning. There was a man I didn't know standing with the hotel security. "Mrs. Leanders, this was left for you at the front desk," the mail continued. An envelope bearing my name in my father's handwriting appeared to be a need for immediate attention. I held off on opening it until security had departed. One piece of paper is included therein. Father's meticulous script. "Serafina, stop this now before you ruin everything. You don't understand what you're doing. That money is complicated. Your grandfather's estate is complicated. If you pursue this, you'll destroy more than just our relationship. You'll destroy his legacy. We need to talk in person. No lawyers, Dad." It made me laugh. I couldn't help but laugh. Now he wants to talk. Now it's urgent. Alaric read the letter, his jaw clenching into a tight jaw. His legacy. He stole your legacy. Even when turned off, my phone still seemed to be pulsating with unspent energy. Turning it on was my cue that an onslaught of messages, calls, accusations, guilt trips, and manipulation was imminent. "Just let them freak out," Alaric commanded as he drew me back to my bed. "Let them wonder what you're going to do. Let them feel what it's like to be left out, to not know what's happening, to be powerless." Though I was unable to get any rest, my mind kept returning to that account, picturing Grandpa painstakingly depositing funds over the course of 23 years, Christmas money, birthday money, and as I imagine, his Social Security checks in the latter years, completely taken from me. My alarm went off at 7 in the morning. 394 SMS, 49 Facebook notifications, and 193 missed calls. Even though I didn't recognize most of the messages, one stood out. "Robert Quillen, the attorney for your grandfather, is speaking with you, Serafina. Someone has informed me about some suspicious behavior involving your grandpa's estate. Instantly, please, give me a call. Learn the ins and outs of your inheritance." I turned to Alaric. "It's Sunday morning. Call him." The first ring was answered by Robert Quillen. His raspy, whiskey-aged voice had a certain sharpness to it. "Serafina, thank God. I've been trying to reach you for 2 years. 2 years? Since Grandpa died? Your parents told me you weren't interested in dealing with the estate, that you were too busy with school, then work, then wedding planning." Here we go again with another untruth. "Of course, Mr. Quillen, I've never heard from you, ever." There was a considerable interruption. I see. Well, that changes things considerably. Can you meet me tomorrow? There's quite a bit we need to discuss. Bring your husband. You'll want a witness for this. Is it about the account? The one my dad's been draining? Oh, my dear girl, that account is the least of it. Your grandfather left you everything. The house, the investments, the properties. Your parents have been living in your house, Serafina. And if what I'm seeing in these bank records is correct, they've been stealing from you for 2 years. As my fingers grew numb, the phone fell from my grasp. Upon noticing it, Alaric assumed control of the discussion and set up the appointment. Attempting to make sense of what I had just heard, I sat on the hotel bed in my bridal nightgown. This is my home. My house had been their home. It was at this place that they informed me I couldn't remain the night during my visit. That was the house where they had told me it would be too difficult to host my wedding celebration. My money has been going toward the renovation of this house. Alaric bowed down before me and took my hand, saying, Serafina, we're going to fix this. All of it. They knew, I said, trying to blend in. This whole time they knew. Every time they said they couldn't afford something, couldn't help me, couldn't be there. They were spending my money, living in my house. Someone tapped on my phone. A message from Isolda. You're wreaking havoc on this household. It was me who responded by text message. No, I'm sick of being the target of destruction. Then I finally did what I ought to have done a long time ago. I stopped all of them. Hello, Mom, Dad, Isolda and all the other relatives who had opted for a vacation instead of my wedding, as well as all the cousins who had made fun of us for avoiding the drama. After this, Alaric wanted to know, what now? Now? I said, getting up off the ground with a surge of strength I hadn't felt in years. Now we go home. We get Grandpa's box, we meet with the lawyer. And we take back everything they stole. Not just the money. My dignity, my self-worth, my belief that I mattered. All of it. And then we build that better family you talked about. The kind that shows up. In that hotel room, as the morning sun poured through the curtains, I experienced a sensation I hadn't felt in years. A kiss from him. I am quite unhappy. No, not just yet. However, without cost. No longer burdened by the expectation of love that would never come. Unencumbered by the falsehood that I was the issue. As I stepped outside, my phone began to flash with alerts. Someone had shared the post more than 1,000 times. Overwhelmingly, the messages came from people I had long since forgotten, neighbors, teachers, distant relatives, childhood friends, all with somewhat different takes on the same subject. None of us knew. We apologize deeply. Better was due to you. I believed that too. I felt that I deserved more. At last, I was going to succeed. Morwenna, a friend of my mother's who had informed me about the theft first, was the last person whose message I saw before Alaric took my phone away once more. Uncle Grandpa would be so proud of you. According to him, you were the sole strong-willed member of the family. Put up a fight, Serafina. Use all your resources to defeat them. I had every intention of doing it. The arrival of Monday morning brought with it the kind of clear belief in new beginnings that can only be described as refreshing. I sat with Alaric in Robert Quillen's office, a room with wood panels and the aroma of leather and ancient books. It was the type of place where significant events took place. Sitting between us was the unopened package that had been stashed under our bed. Wearing a 3-piece suit that had likely been his attire for 4 decades, Mr. Quillen appeared precisely as I had imagined, silver-haired, sharp-eyed. Looking at me though, he had a gentle, even paternal gaze. He settled down behind his desk and remarked, "Your grandfather talked about you constantly. Serafina this, Serafina that. You were his pride and joy." So I said, "Then why?" And my voice flailed. "Why did he leave everything in a way that they could steal it?" He didn't. Out came a big folder from Mr. Quillen's desk. "Your grandpa did a lot of things, but naive wasn't one of them. He had a perfect understanding of your parents' abilities. He strewn papers across the desk like playing cards, including trust papers, bank statements, and property titles. Your grandfather created an ironclad trust. You were to receive everything, the house, the investment accounts, the rental properties, on your 25th birthday, or on your wedding day, whichever came first. Your father was named as temporary executor only, to manage things until then. But I'm 26, I've been 26 for 8 months. Yes, and your father was legally required to transfer everything to you last February, he didn't." Then Alaric stooped. "That's fraud, that's multiple felonies. Corrected by Mr. Quillen. Your father has been collecting rent from 3 properties, about $4,501 a month, that should have been going to you. He's been living in a house that legally belongs to you, and he's been systematically draining accounts that were supposed to be protected. I inquired. How much? Total. How much should I have? Mr. Quillen looked over his documents. Based on the last accounting your grandfather did, plus appreciation and interest, approximately $390,000 in assets, plus another $61,000 in the accounts. Every corner of the room seemed to spin, and I took hold of Alaric's hand. They told me Grandpa left everything to them, I muttered. That he'd left me some savings bonds that wouldn't mature for years. Open the box, Mr. Quillen whispered softly. I lifted the lid, my hands trembling. Encased in tissue paper, I found a mountain of letters written by Grandpa in his spidery hand and dated after his diagnosis. Each one was addressed to me. The top one was the one I opened. I am no longer with you, Serafina, my beloved. You may be asking why I didn't do more to keep you safe. I must admit, I did my best. Because no one else is worthy, I have bequeathed everything to you. Beware of your parents' deceitful ways. All this time, they've been telling you lies. Although he's not a terrible man, your father is frail, she exacerbates his problems. They don't regard you as a beloved daughter, but as a rival for Isolde. In the past 23 years, I've seen them gradually extinguish your glow. No more. It is yours to keep. Feel free to do it. Create the life you truly desire. The attorney has directions. Have faith in Robert. He said he will track you down at the appropriate moment. My deepest sympathies, Pops. Just so you know, while I was sick, you used your tooth fairy money to make soup, and you were only 7 years old. It was then that I realized you were unique. I began setting aside everything for you at that point. At this point, I was inconsolable, ugly bawling in this spotless workplace. A box of tissues was stealthily passed across the desk by Mr. Quillen while Alaric massaged my back. He remarked, "There's more," once I had collected myself. Your grandmother knew too. She set up a separate trust that your parents don't know about. It's smaller, just $51,000, but it's been sitting in an account they can't touch. She wanted you to have options. Why didn't anyone tell me? Your grandfather made me promise to wait until you were married or turned 25. He wanted you to be old enough to handle it, to have support. Alaric caught his eye. He would have liked you, young man. He valued people who protected Serafina. Because of that, what are our options? Alaric inquired. First, we file for an immediate injunction to freeze all assets. Then, we file criminal charges for fraud, theft, and breach of fiduciary duty. Your parents will be served papers within 48 hours. What about the house? Legally, it's yours. We can file for immediate eviction. Removal from a building. The house my parents had resided in for 30 years will be forcibly removed from their possession. This was my childhood home. Their house wasn't it though. I owned it. It was guaranteed by Grandpa. I need to think about that part, I informed myself. To indicate agreement, Mr. Quillen gave a discreet nod. There's no rush on the eviction. But Serafina, you need to understand. They've been renovating that house with your money. The new kitchen, the pool they put in last year, the finished basement where Isolde lives, rent-free, all of it was paid for with funds that belong to you. In the pool. I would love to see them install a pool. Mom had told me the backyard was too uninviting for visitors when I asked if I might hold my reception there. Still another letter from the box was opened by me. The day of your wedding is approaching, Serafina. No matter how blind I am, I can feel it. Your beauty will radiate. You're going to be doted on. People were wrong when they told you couldn't do certain things. Refrain from inviting them if you feel they are unworthy. True family ties are not based on blood relations. We choose our families. Opt for those who opt for you. My grandfather. Why did he know? I didn't understand how he could see what I was ignoring. There's something else, Mr. Quillen noted. Presenting his phone to me, he said, Your father sent me an email this morning. Serafina is being spiteful because we missed her wedding. That was the most striking statement in the lengthy, meandering, accusatory and threatening email. Nothing but retaliation. Revenge? I scoffed with resentment. They stole my inheritance to go on a cruise instead of my wedding, and I'm being vindictive. He also claims you're mentally unstable, that you've always been jealous of Isolde, that this is all a misunderstanding. Of course he does. Something rang on Alaric's phone. Isolde had posted to Facebook, and he showed me the screen where it was. An argument about money has my sister plotting to ruin our family. She recently tied the knot and now feels superior to us. When they find a man, some women reveal their real nature. Sad. The responses were harsh, with some people praising her and others criticizing her for not showing up to my wedding. Somebody had taken a screenshot of my initial post and placed it next to the images from the cruise. The timestamps proved to be crucial. Allow them to speak, Mr. Quillen suggested. Everything they say can be used in court. They're admitting to being on that cruise during your wedding. They're admitting to knowing about the money. They're hanging themselves. We spent the next 2 hours signing various documents, including injunctions, freezing orders, and formal complaints. I sensed a change as I took each signature. Not quite lighter, but cleaner, like slicing away unhealthy tissue to make room for new healthy tissue to grow. One last envelope was given to me by Mr. Quillen as we departed. Your grandfather left specific instructions for this to be given to you after your wedding. I cracked it open while driving. By now, Serafina, you are aware of the reality. What did they take from you? You know. The things they could never take from you, though, are your generosity, resilience, and capacity to love, even when you feel unwanted. I'm leaving you with more than just cash. Leaving you free is my decision. The liberty to never again settle for crumbs of love. Liberation to start a family of your own. The liberty to exist in complete authenticity. You can expect your parents to speak negatively of you. Give them permission. Their lies can't stand a chance against your truth. May you find joy, my beloved. Keep smiling even when it hurts. My grandfather. On a Wednesday, the documents were served. I knew because in the span of 3 hours, Mom contacted Alaric's mom 47 times, pleading with her to help me understand. The sensible woman that is Rowena responded, "That's terrible, Marigold. Which oncologist are you seeing? I'll send flowers to your next appointment." Mom then hung up and never phoned again. On Thursday, word spread across the entire town. Not because I spoke out, but because Dad addressed their church prayer group, pleading for prayers for their troubled daughter who had prioritized money over family. Someone caught it on tape. It had already been uploaded. In a matter of hours, #ChosenoverFamily became a local trend. But Dad had other plans. Everyone began to spill the beans about their own experiences. My parents' unpaid debt to the church fund, the fake nose job that was supposed to be Isolda's emergency surgery, the repeated pattern of deceit and manipulation, and the time my parents borrowed money from the church fund without ever paying it back. But it was Cassian, Isolda's ex-boyfriend, who unexpectedly provided the turning point. His video really went popular once he uploaded it. He stared straight into the camera and said, "I dated Isolda for 3 years. I watched how that family treated Serafina. They made her cook Thanksgiving dinner and then told her she couldn't eat with them because the table was full. They took her car without asking and returned it empty. They cashed her birthday checks from relatives and told her the relatives forgot. I watched them destroy that girl's self-worth for sport, and now they're crying because she's fighting back. Good for her." In just 2 days, the video amassed 3 million views. Podcasters wanted interviews, long-lost relatives wanted to talk, and random individuals who had been through the same thing wanted to be my buddy. My phone became worthless. I disabled everything. Allow Alaric to take care of the necessary tasks. Although I was not invited to the wedding, I did read a note from Alara, Isolda's favorite cousin and the one who had served as the flower girl. Everything was visible to me, Aunt Serafina. The manner in which they make fun of you when you're not around. They act as if they prepared your recipes, and then claim credit for them. This is how your college fund was used for Isolda's pageant expenses. At the age of 17, I've seen it all. They will also be terminated when I reach the age of 18. It takes courage. I look up to you. We caught up with Callista at the courthouse on Friday morning. The injunction was upheld. The properties were subject to a legal review and all accounts were frozen. There was a full 72 hours for my parents to detail all of their spending. They've hired a lawyer, Callista informed us. Who? Gideon Thorne. Then Alaric scowled. The guy who lost the Patterson case? The one who got disbarred for 5 years and just got his license back? That's the one. Apparently, he's the only one who would take the case. Things were going to get far worse, and that should have been my first warning. My phone went into overdrive with notifications on Saturday afternoon as Alaric and I were grocery shopping. Isolda claimed that I had been abusive to her when we were kids in a TikTok live video when she sobbed into the camera. She claimed that I had intimidated her, stolen her belongings, and locked her in closets. She had acting chops, however it was all innuendo. She had picked up the art of victimization from her mother. One critical error, though, was hers. As she put it, Serafina was always jealous that Grandpa loved me more. That's why she's doing this. The following hour, someone had made public Grandpa's will, the actual document, which was already official. With the bequest of his old golf clubs, it made a single passing reference to Isolde. I was entrusted with every single detail. Things became nasty in the comments. He left you golf clubs, my darling. Here are some sticks. Bye, Grandpa said. Picture this. Your grandpa lied about a deceased man's fondness for clout. The video was removed by Isolde, but the internet remains. Nobody did much on Sunday. Far too silent. I ought to have sensed that they were hatching a plot. The apartment building where I live was encircled by TV vans when I awoke on Monday morning. It was Mom, of all people, who contacted every news station and said that I was using legal maneuvers to hold my aging parents captive. He thought I was a greedy manipulator who had married Alaric for his wealth and was now plotting revenge on my own family. However, they had been mistaken. The reporters were well prepared. Serafina, a person asked, is it true your parents spent your inheritance on a cruise during your wedding? Can you comment on the fraud charges? How does it feel to have your story inspire others to stand up against financial abuse? We didn't say a word while Alaric and I sat through them, but I overheard a reporter doing a stand-up. The woman whose family is making her out to be a monster seems to have been the victim of years of emotional and financial abuse. Later that day, Mr. Quillen gave a call. Your parents' lawyer has reached out. They want to settle. Of course they do. They're offering to return the house in exchange for dropping all charges. Just the house? What about the hundreds of thousands they stole? They claim that money was family money, used for family expenses. My money used for their expenses. Exactly. I told them no. But Serafina, you should know. They're getting desperate. Desperate people do desperate things. He had a point. I was having dinner with Alaric's parents that night when my phone started ringing, an anonymous local number. Hello? Serafina, this is Officer Bramwell with the police department. We've just arrested your father. A chill ran down my spine. For the fraud? No, ma'am. He was attempting to break into your apartment. Your neighbor called it in. When we got home, we saw 2 police cars waiting for us. Mom yelled at the police officers from the sidewalk as Dad was in the back of one of the vehicles. Throughout, Isolde was filming. Certainly so. The cops showed us the neighbor's doorbell video film, which showed our inebriated father attempting to use a credit card to pick our lock like a neophyte intruder. He escalated to kicking the door and yelling about reclaiming his property when that failed. When Officer Bramwell said, "Do you want to press charges?" Through the glass of the police cruiser, I peered at my dad. He avoided eye contact with me. He was likely attempting to spin this as well, as he was texting on his phone. The answer was, yes, I replied. I do. My mother came charging at me and I was afraid she was going to strike me for a split second. With a step, Alaric separated us. How on earth could you? She exclaimed with a piercing scream. Your own father. We raised you. No, I managed to say, finally finding my singing voice. You raised Isolde. You tolerated me. And you stole from me every chance you got. We gave you life. And then you spent 26 years trying to make me wish you hadn't. That silenced her. It might have been too severe. Perhaps it was just the right amount of severe. Isolde drew near as the police vehicles accelerated away. Everything is in ruins now, she exclaimed. I'm supposed to get married next year. How am I supposed to have a wedding now, with your own money? Sneering, she made her mark. I hate you. I know, I murmured softly. You always have. The difference is, now I don't care. Although the civil case proceeded more quickly, the criminal trial was scheduled for 3 months from now. The judge granted my request on all counts within 6 weeks. I owned the house. I had the remaining sum. It was my rental properties. The fact that Dad was breaking and entering made it all the more serious. From the back of the police cruiser, he sent me 43 threatening texts. He had broken the restraining order I had filed. He had been captured on camera attempting to break into my home. The following day, his attorney dropped him. Mom made one final attempt at manipulation. She sobbed as she phoned Alaric's mom, informing her that she was sick with cancer and needed her family's support. The sensible woman that is Rowena responded. That's terrible, Marigold. Which oncologist are you seeing? I'll send flowers to your next appointment. Mom then hung up and never phoned again. As I made my way around the home, an odd sensation washed over me. After being escorted out by the sheriff, they hastily departed. claiming as their possessions only the very few items that could be verified as really theirs. It was my money that had even purchased the furniture. When I returned to my childhood room at the age of 18, it was precisely as I had left it. Rather than being kept because of affection, it was forgotten, just like I had been. At the same time, Isolde's chamber had undergone 3 renovations. After searching every room in the house, I finally located my long-lost report cards, art projects and middle school journal in the basement. However, oddly enough, there were also photos of me that had been trimmed from family albums. I felt like several of them were trying to wipe my name off the family tree. Alaric looked at a Christmas photo and said, "Creepy," as he pointed out the gap that had been left between Isolde and Dad caused by my meticulous excision. "No," I responded, my realization sinking in. "It's sad. They had to work so hard to hate me. It took actual effort. This house was going to be sold. Living there would be too much for me. I was unable to bring up a family in an environment that had made me feel useless. I had one final task to complete first though. They were all invited. No one could legally be on the land, including my parents and Isolde. My entire extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins and friends, had opted for that cruise instead of my wedding. They asked what was going on with the house and I informed them. They obviously came in the hopes that I would pardon them, gift them something, or at least be interested in the drama. There were many people in the backyard. I had my reception in the very backyard where Mom had previously told me I couldn't. As I stood on the balcony, I stared at the many faces that had enabled my abuse with smiles. Nothing happened to me. No, they weren't related to me. That was proven. "I asked you all here," he said, "to tell you the truth. Grandpa left me everything because he saw what you all saw and ignored. He saw how I was treated. He saw the favoritism, the emotional abuse, the neglect. And he tried to fix it the only way he could, by making sure I'd have resources to escape." She attempted to cut Aunt Octavia off. "Serafina, we didn't know you were on the cruise." Then I remarked, "You posted pictures during my wedding ceremony." Hushedly. "You knew." Absolute quiet. "I'm selling this house. The money will go into a trust for my future children. They'll never know any of you. They'll never feel less than because of you. They'll never wonder why grandma loves their cousin more. They'll never be told they're too sensitive when they point out unfairness." Uncle Leander advised against cutting off all communication. "We're family." "No," I responded. "Relatives. Family shows up. Family doesn't steal. Family doesn't lie. Family doesn't choose a cruise over a wedding." I withdrew a stack of documents. "These are cease and desist orders. If any of you contact me, Alaric, or our future children, we will pursue harassment charges. This is goodbye." While others simply left, others sobbed and shouted. Only my cousin Alara, who is 17 years old, remained behind. When I turn 18, can I call you?" she put forward. My arms were wrapped around her. Always. Within 2 weeks the house was sold. Some offered in cash, higher than the asking price. A dog and 3 children made up the new family. They brought much-needed joy and noise to the house. The trial was over. Father was sentenced to 18 months of probation and was ordered to make reparations. In her community service, Mom participated. Isolde became notorious online, even though she was not charged. She claimed Grandpa loved her more in a video that went viral. At the last I heard, she was employed at a call center in the neighboring town, and she had to remove all of her social media accounts. Alaric took me to the courthouse as a surprise for our first anniversary. Just to refresh our memories, nothing official. As witnesses, there were only the judge, himself, and his secretary. "I wanted to marry you again," he professed. "Now that you know who you really are. Now that you're free." The entire 5-minute ceremony brought tears to my eyes. His family, who are now my actual family, joined us for dinner that night. A cake had been baked by Rowena. The private room of the restaurant had been adorned by Alaric's sisters. As the toast came to a close, his father said, "To Serafina, who showed us all what strength looks like." Afterwards, when we lounged on the balcony of our apartment, I retrieved the final letter from Grandpa's box. The one that said, "Open when you're happy," was the one I had been putting aside. If Serafina is perusing this, then you have achieved great success. You're no longer bound. You've made your own decision. The pain is real. I am aware that they cast you in the role of the antagonist. You undoubtedly still have days when you question your decision. Nobody was. When you've given your life for other people, it's not selfish to choose yourself. Theft isn't an issue when you take what rightfully belongs to you. May you find joy, my beloved. May your joy be so overwhelming that those who have wronged you come to terms with what they've lost. You are deserving of happiness, so enjoy it. In the past, you have. My deepest sympathies, Pops. By the way, I can see that you found a decent husband. For my sake, tell him to thank me. You deserve this since you recognized your value even when your loved ones didn't. For being there for you. Thank you for guiding you toward your true identity. Looking across at Alaric, I delicately folded the letter. He knew about you. He knew you'd find someone who loved you, right? I missed him. Alaric responded, he's here, pointing to our existence, our house, and our independence. In every choice you make to value yourself. In every boundary you set. In every moment you choose joy over guilt. We named our daughter Grace, after Grandpa's mother, whose image I had found in his files, 2 years later, when she was born. In the past, she had also been the outcast. Who had also selected herself. Who had likewise led an extraordinary life, despite the displeasure of her family. It was Mom who sent the card when the birth announcement was published in the local paper. Grandma has just signed. Unopened, I sent it back. Once, Isolde contacted me via her lawyer to ask if I could contribute to her wedding expenses because family helps family. I sent her $51 in the form of a check. I noted the precise amount you contributed toward my wedding present in the memo section. Within a family, everyone pitches in. Never was the check cashed. I passed the old house last week in my car. After moving in, the new owners painted it yellow, put in a swing set, and started a garden. The lawn, which I had mowed while Isolde lay in the heat, was littered with the bikes of the kids. Now it appeared to be a house. A loving home, not one where people were only tolerated. Ultimately, that is what my grandpa bestowed upon me. A possibility to construct a house like that, rather than only owning land or money. Such a family. Imagine a world where simply turning up is the norm, not the exception. Someone tapped on my phone. From my office, Alaric. Tonight we're having dinner at Mom's. That soup you adore was cooked by her. Typing back, wouldn't miss it. I grinned. Since that is the way families do things. They materialize. And at long last, I do too.